Hello, class. So, welcome to Writing in Psychology. I'm your professor, Renee Wallace, and you can call me Mrs. Wallace or Professor Wallace, not Dr. Wallace. I'm working on that, but that's not true yet. So, don't say that yet. Professor or Mrs. I apologize for the very unprofessional nature of this video, but I just had surgery and I'm recovering. And so, I still wanted to post this video and go over this syllabus with you. But just so you know about writing in psychology. It's really technical writing, really scientific writing. It's really dry and boring. And if what you're writing sounds interesting and personable, you're doing it wrong. And there's just no other way to say it. AP writing is kind of like sucking the life out of you until you get used to it. And then you love it. And I mean, I really like APA writing, but learning to write in APA format was a beatdown. I did my bachelor's and master's at Tarleton, so I've taken this course. And I wondered while taking it who wrote the APA manual and if they were on crack and what they meant. And my first papers, they got lots of comments on them, and I didn't know if I would ever understand how to write like a psychologist and in a scientific manner. But here I am teaching you how to do it. So there is hope for you. And I promise that even though it seems impossible and terrible, if it's not your jam, just pay attention to the details, listen to my feedback, change it, resubmit your work, and you really will learn from it. And by the end of the semester, you'll be writing beautiful scientific APA journal quality papers. But if it's tough at the beginning, just hang in there and know that it was tough for me too, and it really is learnable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen so I can go over the syllabus with you and just talk through that so that maybe I can head off any questions before you ask them. So here's our syllabus. I'm teaching two courses, so that it's the same if that number's wrong. For the video you're watching, the syllabus is the same. I have my email up here, rwallace1@tarleton.edu, and I'm really good at replying same day. So if it's a weekday and it's early, I'll probably reply same day, at least by the next day. If you don't get a response from me by the next day, unless it's the weekend, I'm not going to reply on the weekend probably. I might, but don't guarantee it. So don't plan on it. So if you have a question about something that's due, like on a Monday, don't ask me on that weekend, ask me early. Work ahead. And so I usually reply pretty quickly to email. So if I haven't replied in a day or two, that's weird. So my text cell phone number, I'm sorry, again, recovering. My cell phone number is here, and I mean, don't abuse it, but it's there for a reason. It's an online course, and so sometimes it's difficult to get a hold of your professor. Again, hopefully that's not me. I'm really good at responding, but my cell phone number is here. So text me or call me. Hey, I'm so and so from your writing and psych course. I emailed you 2 days ago. I haven't heard back. I really have this question. I won't be offended or upset at all. That's why I'm here. I'm here to teach you, and you need access to your professor to learn. You need the psych manual, the APA manual, the seventh edition. A lot has changed since the sixth edition. If you get the sixth edition, your papers will be incorrect. So make sure you have the seventh edition. So this is really technical writing. That's really all this class is. We're not learning anything crazy or reinventing the wheel. You're finding peer-reviewed articles and then you are rewriting about them in article reviews, or you're gathering information from many articles and writing a lit review. So everything's in Canvas. This is a 100-point class. I know that some professors have their classes worth like 852 points, and you do some equation to figure out what your final grade is. And I'm not a math major. I'm not a math major on purpose. I don't want to do an equation to figure out what your grade is, and I'm sure you don't either. And this class is worth 100 points. So if you make 90 points and above, you get an A. If you make 80 points and above, you get a B, right? It's really simple and straightforward. So when you're doing an assignment and it's only worth 2 points and you feel that beating down your soul because that's not anything, 2 points adds up a lot over the course of a whole 16-week semester and equals up to 100 points. So it's not nothing. You have to treat it like it matters, right? You have 5 APA competency assignments, and they're just called APA assignment 1, assignment 2. It might be, hey, here's this article. Show me what the site looks like in APA format that would go on a reference page. Or it might be, hey, here's this information. What needs to be cited, A, B, C, or D, right? They're really simple. They should take you like 10 minutes. They're worth 2 points each. So you think that doesn't matter, but that's 10 points. So that's a letter grade. Make sure you do them. So you're going to have 3 article reviews. These papers are the same, right? They're the same type of paper that you're writing. You're going to write an article review 3 times, but it's going to be on 3 different articles that you're reviewing. The first one you're going to do over a quantitative research article. The second article review is over a mixed methods research article. And then the third article review could be quantitative, mixed methods like you've already done, or it could be qualitative. So really you could choose any type of published article you want for that third article review. Any of those three formats. So quantitative just means they did some sort of like real data analyses in this paper, right? There's f-stats or p-values, or they found significance, or z-scores or percentages, or some sort of equations and data evaluations in this paper. Mixed methods means they did data analyses and they had qualitative work. So qualitative and quantitative is a mixed methods paper. So if it's just quantitative, there's really no numerical analyses going on. It's all kind of conceptual, right? We're looking at these concepts and these key items, but they didn't have any like tangible numbers to crunch. So mixed methods means they had some concepts where they couldn't analyze the information numerically, but they did have some information they could analyze numerically from their experiment. And then quantitative is one where they didn't have hard numbers to analyze from their experiment. And in each assignment on Canvas, there's more detailed information on these. And all of those should be available to you by the end of this weekend. And you should be able to see every assignment for the entire semester and work ahead as you want. If you work ahead on the APA assignments, that'll be a really easy way for you to get some due dates off your calendar. But I won't grade them until they are past due, because I don't want you all sharing answers, like taking one for the team. Yeah, I got mine wrong. Here's the right answer. Everyone else get it right. I know that you wouldn't do that, and you're all truly honest students who would never cheat. But just in case someone out there might think of that, I won't do that. However, if you turn in papers early, I will grade those and give you feedback on those as soon as possible. So each of these article reviews are worth 20 points. And then your lit review, the last paper of the semester, is worth 30% of your grade, worth 30 points. So like I said, the first three article reviews are the same, except the first article review, you're going to turn in one painful piece at a time, just so I make sure everyone's on the same page and you really understand what all these components are that make up an article review. So for this first article review, you're turning in just the topic article, like the PDF of the article you're picking to review, your cover page, your title page, cover page, title page. I use them interchangeably, same thing, and your reference page. So that's 2 points, and you're just going to turn that in. And I'm going to say, yeah, here's your article PDF. It's approved. Check. Your title page looks good. Your reference page looks good, right? Although, if we're being honest, I probably won't say they look good. I'll probably give you lots of feedback unless you've paid perfect attention to the APA manual, because again, it's so technical. So I'm going to grade and you're going to think, man, she's being really nitpicky and she's a jerk. And why does this professor care that I capitalize the second word, but not the first word, or that's in italics and it's not, or the period was one space away or whatever, right? Like, it's not me. I don't necessarily care, but the APA manual cares. And if the APA manual cares, then I care. So you're going to think that I'm grading really specific and I'm being really hard and terrible, and you're going to talk bad about me. It's not me. It's the APA manual. It's how we have to write as psychologists and as psych majors. So then you're going to turn in the introduction section, just the introduction section. You don't have to turn in the article PDF anymore, and you don't need to turn in the title page and the reference page anymore. You're just going to turn in the intro section, and that'll be worth 2 points. And then you're going to turn in the method section, and then you're going to turn in the results section, where I'm going to grade things and say, like, hey, the P wasn't italicized and you didn't have a space on the other side of the caret and whatever, right? Like, really nitpicky, but it's APA writing. Then you're going to turn in the discussion section, where I'm probably going to tell you things like, you can't write in first person. APA, there's no place for first person writing or second person writing in APA. That means I should never, ever see in your paper, I, we, he, she, they. There's no place for that. This is scientific grading, and you're citing these authors that wrote this information, that did this experiment. So you're going to be saying things like Smith and colleagues, with a year in citation, 2002, interviewed 45 college students across Southern campuses and found that blah, 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 right? Like, it's really dry and it's really, you're citing everything. And you're probably thinking, well, why am I even writing an article review if I'm not contributing? What you're contributing is a review of the article, but you're not contributing any new information. So there is no point for you to say, I found this really interesting. I understood Smith to be saying blah, blah, blah. There's no place for that. You're just reiterating what Smith and colleagues said in their intersection and their method section and their results section. So in the results section, Smith and colleagues found that 45% of the students that they interviewed suffered from depression as first year college students. I mean, whatever, right? Whatever they found, you're saying what they found and you're restating it in your own words. We're not plagiarizing, you're citing and you're stating in your own words. Each final paper will go through Turnitin for me to be able to see what percentage you actually turned into your own words. So you're not just copy pasting what they're saying. And APA discourages the use of quotes. So maybe you can have one or two quoted sentences in your paper, but really you don't need to be quoting, right? You need to be restating this information in your own words. And then this last version of your first article review, you'll take all of these pieces that I've graded and given you incredibly specific feedback on that have taken hours away from my life, but I'm happy to do because I want you to know how to write like a psychologist. And you're going to fix all of these things that I told you and when I graded these, and you're going to turn in a beautiful entire first paper for 10 points that you should pretty much make 10 points on because you know exactly what to fix. However, I'm not going to give you that intense feedback for the rest of the semester because I've already told you once, I've told you twice. By the time you've turned in the whole paper, if you still haven't fixed it, what to fix and what to do. So I still give lots of feedback on the remaining papers, but it's not quite as intense because I spent a really long time on your first paper telling you every piece that was wrong. So for your second and your third article reviews, you'll just turn in that PDF, your article PDF, your title page, and your reference page for 5 points. And then however many weeks later you have to write that paper, you'll turn in the entire paper with the title page, the whole sections, right? The intersection, method, discussion, results, reference page for the rest of the 15 points. And you'll do that for the second and third article reviews. For the lit review, it's a lit review, right? So you're going to find a minimum of 8 peer-reviewed journal articles over any topic that you want regarding psychology. That's a pretty broad subject. It could be over pharmaceuticals, it could be over a mental disorder, it could be over adjustment, it could be over child development. Really, psychology is a pretty broad umbrella. So you could probably write about anything you care about and related to psychology, video games and aggression, childhood obesity, and depression rates. I mean, really, you can write about whatever you want. You're going to find at least 8 peer-reviewed journal articles from the last 10 years, and you're going to consolidate all of that information. So it's not going to look like your article review anymore. It's not going to have an intro, a method, of results, because you're not just reviewing one article's pieces. You're taking 8 articles worth of information on a topic that you care about, and you're synthesizing that information into one research paper, really. But again, you're still not saying first person. You're still not writing I found this article about whatever. No, because you still didn't do any of the research, but you found 8 different authors and teams who have done research, and you're bringing that information together to present a concept. Maybe you're trying to say that schools need to have longer recess times because that affects children's mental health. So you found 4 articles that talk about depression rates being linked to outdoor time in children and how children get less outdoor time than they ever have before, and how some psychologists have found links between outdoor time and depression rates in children. And then you found 2 articles that talked about obesity rates and health problems in children and how that's linked to outdoor time. And then you found 3 more articles that talked about students' grades in elementary school and how students who report spending more time outside have higher grades that were found. And so now you have these 8 articles that are talking about like 3 different pieces that you think kind of go into this point that you're trying to prove about kids needing more outside time to be smarter in school. And so maybe you have 3 sections to your paper. You have your subheadings. So you'll always have the title to your paper, right? That's a heading level 1. APA has levels of heading. So that's a level 1 heading, that's your title. But then you have this level 2 subheading that's your first concept that you want to talk about, which is depression rates and outdoor time in adolescence. So that's your subheading number 2. That's your level 2 heading. And then you're going to talk about what those 3 articles that you found that we're talking about, that section talked about. You're condensing this information, you're presenting an APA format scientifically. And then you have your second level 2 heading where you're saying obesity rates and health risks of children and outdoor time, whatever, right? And you talk about that information. Then your third concept, usually you just have 8 peer-reviewed articles, so 2 to 3 sections of your paper is plenty for you to talk about. And then you have your discussion section, which will be like the ending of your paper, where you're bringing all that information together and you're saying, based on research done by Smith and colleagues and Adams and colleagues and Johnson and colleagues, psychologists and school administrators should in the future look towards whatever concept you're trying to say. Like what's the point of your paper, right? What's your thesis statement? What are you writing this paper to prove? You want kids to have more outdoor time or more recess time, right? So you're not saying I think they should have more recess time based on all these articles I just cited. You're still writing an APA scientific format. So based on so and so and so and so and so and so's research, school administrators should look at more recess time in the future. And then you're always going to have like a critique. And so you're going to say like, this concept should have been looked at more, should be looked at more in the future. Moving forward, psychologists, teachers, researchers, sociologists should evaluate this, right? So what are you contributing? You're saying, here's what we found, but in the future, maybe we could look at this part. But don't say we. I just said we, but don't say we. Again, you can turn in any of these papers a week before they're due, one time, and I'll give you feedback. So you could email it to me and say, hey, Professor Wallace, I wrote this article review number 2 a week early. Can you look at it and give me some feedback before I turn it in for a due date? Or not for a due date, but for a grade. Let's see. So that's really it. Late work, I don't accept it, right? If you have something catastrophic that happened the entire week before your paper was due, talk to me about it. I'm not a terrible person and I'll want to help you in any way that I can. But if you got strep throat the day before article number 2 was due and you have nothing done and you were going to cram in that whole article review the day before it was due and you've only been sick for a day and you have nothing to show me, I'm not going to be super sensitive to that because you're a college student, you're a grown up and you should be working ahead. You should be looking at your schedule. So if you got sick with a cold 2 days before something was due, you better be able to show me like 4 or 5 pages worth of information. Hey, I was almost done. I was going to finish it up this weekend, but I got sick this weekend. Can I have 2 more days? Whatever. But I just think we're all grown-ups and you should be on top of your stuff and you should work ahead. So getting sick the day of something being due isn't really an excuse to not have anything done. Also, everything's due by 11:59, but sometimes papers take a long time to upload in Canvas. So if your paper uploads at 12:01, I'm not grading it. It's late. And that might seem really harsh, but you're grown up and you know this, and I'm telling you now. So don't turn it in at 11 o'clock. Make sure you turn it in before then. You can turn in a CV for up to 2 points of extra credit, a letter of intent for up to 2 points of extra credit, and you can participate in Service Learning Day. Any activity you want, here it is. I'm not doing one for our class, so you can participate in any other Carleton Service Learning Day activity for up to 2 points. So if you did all of those, that's 6 points. That's half a letter grade that can be added to your grade. So if you made an 86 in the class, but you did these, well, you really made a 92. So now you made an A. So make sure you do these early. Because you don't want to wait until the deadlines have passed and then realize, oh, I wish I would have done that extra credit because I'm not going to take it late. So a CV is just what psychologists and psych majors call their resume, right? It's a fancy word for a resume. And I know that you're college students and you don't have a lot to put on it yet. So just look up psychologist CV examples and just put your resume in a format that looks like that. But I understand you're not going to have a lot to put on there. Letter of intent. I don't know if you want to go to grad school or not, but for this assignment, pretend you do. Take a psych grad school program that you want to go to, or some other grad school program you want to go to. It doesn't have to be psychology. I just assume if you are a psych major, you want to go to a psych grad school program and figure out who their admissions people are and write a letter of intent. I'm really interested in attending your university for graduate school because I'm interested in blah, blah, blah. Look up what letters of intent look like. And then, like I said, Service Learning Day, you can participate in anything that any of our groups or organizations are doing for Service Learning Day. You just have to register for it and then take a picture of yourself there at Service Learning Day and submit that picture on Canvas. So that is it. That's all the big information. I hope that helps. And if you have any questions, definitely reach out to me. And I'll post some more videos throughout the semester with like frequent problems that I'm seeing and answer some more specific questions for the more specific assignments. So that is